Oliver, big Manchester City fan. Oliver, good morning.
Morning, Jim. Morning, Simon.
Morning.
Big fan of the show.
Thanks, Oliver. What's your take on Southgate, mate?
I personally think we've got to a stage now where we can't be applauding Southgate getting to a semi, getting to a final, but he has to be going to Qatar and getting that result. Because I was in the camp of, we need to be patient, we've got a good group of players, but I want to see results now. Like, going back to a point Simon was saying with the golden generation, I do personally believe we had a good group of players, but I feel like where we fell in that Euros final was that Southgate didn't have a backbone to make the decisions that would have got us to where we wanted to be, like Mancini did.
Right. Oliver, what do you make of this? Mark in Riga. Goodness me, Riga. But Mark is saying a manager is judged on the success of the team he manages, and if they win nothing, then you simply cannot call him successful. No World Cup for England, then he has to go.
Yeah, I would be in that camp, because at the end of the day, he's got arguably the best group of players you can possibly have for the job. And if you can't go to Qatar and you can't get that trophy and bring it home, then I think we should be looking elsewhere.
Oliver, thanks for the call. That's got us off and running. I wonder if Manchester United fan Luke agrees with that. Luke, good morning.
Yeah, I have some differences, lads. Morning, by the way.
Morning.
As always.
Thank you, mate. What's your take, Luke?
I liken him very much to another of Simon's favourite managers, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he's on his level, and I don't think England are ever going to win anything. He'll get you within touching distance, but it's not that he's not got a backbone. He's just not got the tactical nous to react to those fine details in the most important moments to win something. That's why I think we're going to fall down. We're never going to win anything. Nations League, World Cup, the Euros, because he's not got the nous to do what he needs to do in those critical moments.
I mean, Simon surprised me somewhat, Luke, by saying, OK, but if it get to, say, a semi-final and against one of the top nations, they make a fist of it but go out, he could stay on. Do you agree with that?
He could stay on. Whether he should do is another kettle of fish.
Should he?
I don't think he should do. No, I don't think he should do, because if you want to win something, and don't forget England are one of the biggest teams with the biggest budgets, biggest infrastructures, not necessarily the best, but if you want to aim to be the best, you've got to set your stall a little bit higher and get the best manager.
So look, without being fatalistic about it, you don't believe that England will go to Qatar and win the trophy?
I think they could do, if Southgate wasn't the manager, if he's learned from his previous. I'm there to be proven wrong. If he makes the corrections of his past mistakes, like in the Euros final, why not?
Okay.
We could go and win it, but he's not done anything. He's, again, very similar to Solskjaer.
Yeah.
Solskjaer had a malaise, lost 4-0 to Watford. I liken what Southgate's reigns happening there to what happened at United.
Okay, Luke, thank you very much indeed. Lee's a big Liverpool fan. Lee, I've got a text in from Danny Mills. I respect Danny a lot, former England player. He says, I'm listening, guys. So if Brazil, Argentina, France, Spain, Belgium, etc. don't win it, should their managers all get sacked? Get real, says Danny. What's your take on that, Lee?
What it is, right? We've been England fans all these years and that. The last couple of tournaments, we've got to a semi-final, we've got to a final, and we keep saying, this is our best team ever. Right, we've had Parker, right back. I'm sure he's better than Trent. We've had Stuart Pearce, left back. He's better than Luke Shaw. Robson, better than Rice. Gaza, better than Henderson. We couldn't even win it then with them players. So, to me, Southgate, who do we get if we don't have Southgate?
So Lee, where do you? Are you virtually saying to me then, if England don't win it and come back, it would be pointless moving on from Gareth because who's around? That's basically what you're saying.
There's nobody, is there? There's nobody.
Lee, there's always somebody.
You've got to give him time to build something. He's had 2 tournaments, fair enough. Klopp's had 7 years.
Yes.
It took him 2 or 3 years to get his team together, get him out of the play.
Okay, no, Lee, good point. Simon, what's your take on that? What do you think? I mean, to my mind, there's suddenly more of an urgency amongst England support that it's not now or never, but it ain't far off it.
Well, it's natural progression, isn't it? You've gone to a semi-final, you've gone to a final. The next stage has got to be to win the final, but you've also got to be realistic. And I go back to the analogy that I made about the luck of the draw, because it's helped him get there. But you've also got to realise Gareth Southgate is the 4th longest service England manager in history, and has also got the 3rd best win record behind Alf Ramsey and, believe it or not, Fabio Capello. So with those two things in mind, when we're judging Southgate, we've got to be careful how we judge him, because whilst I don't think he's the most inspired manager that we've ever put in the dugout, and other people like Venables at the time were far more charismatic and inspiring, and ones that didn't get it, like Brian Clough, would have been far more engaging, and Bobby Robson eventually came good and became a national hero, albeit a subject of ridicule like they all were at one time when they became England managers. Southgate, to me, gets more criticism than he's entitled to, and sometimes more praise than he deserves. So it's one of those conundrums, because you look at it and say, I can't see the sense, and I've yet to have anybody explain it to me besides football crap, which is why we needed to give him another contract on the back of a tournament which would have defined the immediate future for this nation.
Why did they do it? I mean, was it a pointless show of faith?
Because
what was it?
I do think there's an element of this is not the right expression. Understand the words, but excuse the words, but understand the meaning. A little bit of jobs for the boys, because he's built this nice camp. There's no problems for the FA. There's no controversy. There's a progression that looks good on paper, but when you drill into it and you go, well, that weren't good enough. That weren't good enough. We should have done better here. We could have won a tournament. We'd never get a better opportunity to win a tournament than play it at a home tournament, which is virtually what we were playing in the last European Championships. When you start to pare it back, the Germans are in decline. The Portuguese haven't been great. The Italians haven't qualified for this World Cup, and you start to look at the landscape, and you can also superimpose that back over years gone past. But you look at it and say, well, actually, he's done what a decent football manager should do, not an exceptional one. We should, without any disrespect to the Italians, specifically my friends in Spain who are constantly on at me about this, I think we should have won that European Championship. We'll never get a better opportunity.
Of course.
We had the momentum for the first 15 minutes. They changed, we didn't. And the only time we changed is when they eventually, inevitably, bashed down our door and scored a goal that everybody in the nation knew was coming, except seeming the coach in the dugout that might have been able to arrest the tsunami of pressure that was building on the England team as the Italians built up and built up and built up and built up. Look, going back to the central point, no one should argue or want to argue in any sane mind, whether they like Southgate or not, or they've got a bias towards him as a person, that he has earned the right to take this team into the World Cup campaign. But he has not earned the right to be given a tournament as a tournament manager, the next contract until this tournament has finished. And it's just silliness from the English FA. I don't understand it.
All right. Well, Steve's a Newcastle fan. Get real. Gareth's doing a great job. Okay. Gareth's England in Milan tonight to take on the Euro 2020 final foes, Italy.
Who aren't very good, by the way.
It's live on talkSPORT. But England, no defeat, will see them relegated from the top tier of the Nations League.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.